We've been listening to President Biden speaking from the White House after a shutdown was avoided yesterday. You heard him make the strong case there for emergency funding for Ukraine, repeatedly asked about that. He called on Republicans to end governing by crisis, said he was sick and tired of the brinkmanship. We all are, I think. I have Secretary Pete Buttigieg agreed to stay with me while we watch that, and he's joining me again now. So we heard some of those shadows of what he said in his remarks there last night in the statement. You've worked with Congress. You've worked with a range of members. Do you think it's possible to end this era of governing by crisis?
I think it is. I think it has to be. And one thing that I'm really struck by in the president's remarks is how many times he went back to the idea, when you make a deal, you stick with a deal. And, I've noticed many times serving under him, I'm sure you had the same experience in the administration. He believes deeply in keeping your word, in fidelity to your word. And that's not just some quaint principle. That is actually a governing strategy that he has used to build the credibility that got some of the biggest achievements of this administration done, whether it was the bipartisan infrastructure law passed when people didn't think you could do anything bipartisan in this town, or the CHIPS Act that also was done on a bipartisan basis. So one thing that I'm really struck by is this idea of really calling the Speaker and calling House Republicans more generally to their duty and their responsibility to do this while having, at the same time, no illusions about the dynamics that are going on. The other thing that I think is really striking there, and that I'm glad he pointed out, is it's not just about the shutdown and the need that we can't lurch from threat to threat, from shutdown to shutdown, but what they were trying to threaten a shutdown in order to get these cuts, these 30% or more cuts. We've been running the numbers on what that would have meant for transportation. If we went a year with those kinds of cuts, we would have to close air traffic control towers across the country. Cargo and passenger flights would be impacted. Just to take one example, I'll give you another example. Railroad inspections would be cut back dramatically. Some of the very same people who were quick to try to score partisan points off of situations like what happened in East Palestine, Ohio, were effectively demanding, with the threat of a shutdown as their leverage, that we cut the resources that are used to keep railroads safe in this country. So I think you can feel and see as he speaks that he knows that the American people agree with him, agree with the pluralities that have voted to keep the government going, agree, by the way, with the bipartisan majorities in both chambers that we've got to do the right thing on Ukraine. And I think that's why he was able to have that level of strength in his message just now.
He also said he hopes Kevin McCarthy has a personal revelation, which is a very Bidenism thing to say. I enjoyed that. He also kind of encouraged members to not delay, to just start acting. It doesn't have to be the last moment. There was a similar message from OMB Director Shalanda Young, one of your colleagues, this morning. What does that look like? I mean, it's the same members here who are going to be voting on this in 6 weeks. Do you think that's even possible? Well,
we're about to find out, but there's no reason to wait till the absolute last minute. Why would you wait until it's almost Thanksgiving and all that travel's about to begin, and every American just wants to be with their family, to allow this to come to a head yet again? I know deadlines are like that sometimes. People wait until the last minute, but it is in nobody's interest to slow walk this. And honestly, I think in everybody's interest, including Speaker McCarthy, frankly, to figure this out, not at the last minute, but at the earliest possible moment, to go into this week and get something done.
Sounds like some pretty good common sense. Secretary Buttigieg, thank you for staying with me. I'll let you go home to your twins now. I really appreciate it.